Single dad missed his flight to help a crying girl, then her billionaire mother offered him everything. Single dad Daniel Carter had exactly 11 minutes to catch his flight when he heard a little girl crying behind the airport baggage lockers. His boarding pass was already in his hand, his suitcase was rolling behind him, and his 6-year-old daughter was waiting at the gate, but when he turned toward the crying, he saw a frightened girl of about 7 sitting alone on the cold floor, clutching a tiny pink backpack. Everyone around her kept walking. Daniel didn't. He knew what it felt like to be alone in a crowded place, because after losing his wife 3 years earlier, he had spent every day making sure his own daughter never felt that way. He knelt beside the girl, forgetting about the 11 minutes, forgetting about the flight, and forgetting that missing it could cost him the one opportunity he desperately needed. What Daniel didn't know was that the little girl was the daughter of one of the richest women in the country, and helping her would soon change the lives of both Daniel and his daughter forever. If you believe kindness still matters, that second chances can change lives, and that one good decision can make a difference, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to SoulTales for more emotional stories. Your support helps us bring more stories of courage, kindness, and second chances. Daniel had been traveling with his daughter Emma to another city for a job interview that could finally pull them out of years of financial struggle. Since his wife's death, Daniel had worked whatever jobs he could find. He delivered groceries in the morning, repaired appliances during the afternoon, and sometimes drove late into the night just to keep the rent paid. He was exhausted, but he never complained in front of Emma. He wanted her to remember her father as a man who kept going, not a man who gave up. The job interview waiting for him was with a major technology company, and although the position wasn't glamorous, it offered a stable salary, health insurance, and enough security to stop worrying every month about which bill would have to wait. Missing that flight could mean missing the interview, and missing the interview could mean losing the opportunity he had spent weeks preparing for. But the little girl on the airport floor was shaking so badly that Daniel couldn't walk away. Her name was Lily. She kept looking toward the crowded terminal, searching for someone who never came. Daniel first asked airport security for help, but the nearest officer was already dealing with another emergency. Daniel stayed beside Lily, speaking calmly and asking simple questions until she finally explained that she had been holding her mother's hand near a coffee shop when a crowd pushed between them. She had followed a stranger for a few steps, thinking it was her mother, and then realized she was completely lost. Daniel immediately understood the terror in her eyes. He took out his phone, contacted airport staff, and stayed beside her while they began searching the terminal. Meanwhile, Emma had realized her father wasn't coming to the gate. She was frightened at first, but when Daniel finally reached her by phone, he explained that he had found a little girl who was lost. Emma didn't hesitate. She told him to stay with the girl because her mother would be scared too. Those simple words broke something inside Daniel. His daughter was only 6, yet she already understood the kind of person he was trying to become. Daniel told Emma that they might miss their flight, and Emma simply accepted it. Minutes later, the boarding doors closed. Their flight disappeared from the departure screen, taking Daniel's carefully planned future with it. Then something unexpected happened. A woman in an elegant black coat came running through the terminal with 2 security guards behind her. Her face was pale, her hair disheveled, and tears were streaming down her cheeks. The moment Lily saw her mother, she ran into her arms. The woman held her daughter so tightly that for several seconds she couldn't even speak. Daniel quietly stepped back, believing his part was over. But when the woman finally looked at him, her expression changed. She recognized him from the airport security cameras and realized he had stayed with Lily after everyone else had continued walking. Her name was Victoria Reynolds, a billionaire entrepreneur whose company was known across the country. But at that moment, she wasn't a billionaire or a powerful CEO. She was simply a terrified mother holding her child. She tried to thank Daniel, but he refused any money. He told her he had a daughter waiting at the gate and had only done what he hoped another parent would do for Emma. Victoria asked what had brought him to the airport, and Daniel reluctantly explained about the job interview he had just missed. He didn't mention the overdue rent or the broken refrigerator waiting at home. He didn't tell her how many nights he had gone without dinner so Emma could eat. He simply said he would find another opportunity. Victoria couldn't stop thinking about those words. The next morning, Daniel received a phone call from the company where his interview had been scheduled. He expected them to tell him the position had been given to someone else. Instead, the recruiter said Victoria Reynolds had personally requested that Daniel be given another interview. Daniel was stunned. But when he arrived at her company, he discovered that Victoria hadn't brought him there simply to offer him a job. She had reviewed his background and learned that Daniel had once been a highly skilled operations manager before leaving his career to care for his wife during her illness. After his wife's death, he had struggled to rebuild everything from the ground up. Victoria offered Daniel a senior operations position with a salary far beyond anything he had imagined. But Daniel hesitated. He didn't want charity. Victoria understood immediately. She explained that she wasn't paying him because he helped her daughter. She was offering him the position because his character had revealed something no resume could show. He had sacrificed his own future for a frightened child without knowing who she was. Still, Daniel couldn't accept everything easily. His pride made him uncomfortable, and he worried that people would think he had been rewarded simply because he helped a billionaire's daughter. Victoria told him that kindness wasn't a transaction. She had simply been given the chance to return a fraction of what he had given her family that day. Then she made an offer Daniel never expected. She asked him to lead a new company program designed to provide stable employment and childcare support for single parents. Daniel would not only have a secure career, he would help build opportunities for parents who were struggling exactly as he had struggled. The position came with flexible hours, excellent benefits, and a place for Emma in a nearby school program. Victoria wasn't giving Daniel a life. She was giving him the opportunity to rebuild one. Months passed, and Daniel's life slowly changed. He moved into a small but comfortable home where Emma finally had a room of her own. He stopped working 3 jobs. He started eating dinner at the table with his daughter instead of rushing between shifts. Most importantly, he no longer woke up every morning wondering whether one unexpected bill could destroy everything they had built. But Daniel never forgot the little girl at the airport. One afternoon, Lily visited the company with her mother. She ran toward Daniel with the same pink backpack she had carried that day. Emma joined them, and the 2 girls quickly became friends. Victoria watched from a distance as Daniel knelt beside Lily, laughing as she showed him a drawing she had made. For the first time in years, Victoria realized that her daughter's life had been changed not by money, influence, or power, but by a stranger who had simply chosen not to walk away. Daniel eventually learned that the flight he had missed that day had been delayed for several hours because of a mechanical problem. He could have still made his interview, but he would never have met Lily, Victoria, or discovered the purpose that came with his new career. What he thought was a missed opportunity had actually been the beginning of a completely different future. Before the final moments of his story, Daniel often told Emma that life doesn't always reward you immediately for doing the right thing. Sometimes you do the right thing and lose something. Sometimes kindness costs you time, money, comfort, or an opportunity you desperately wanted. But that doesn't make kindness a mistake. It simply means you may not see the reason for your choice until much later. And if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to SoulTales. Every interaction helps these stories reach people who may need a little hope today. Before we end, comment, kindness always matters, if you believe helping someone in need is worth more than any missed opportunity. Daniel never became a different man because he received a billionaire's offer. He simply became the man he had already been trying to become, a father who chose compassion when nobody was watching. He missed a flight that day, but he didn't miss his purpose. And sometimes, the door we think we have missed is the very thing that leads us to the life we were meant to find. For Daniel, one crying child at an airport turned a painful sacrifice into a second chance, and his greatest reward wasn't the money, the job, or the beautiful home. It was knowing that when his daughter someday asked what kind of man her father had been, he could honestly say that when someone needed help, he stopped.